Well, folks, today is the day that we have been waiting for since the beginning of January of 2023. Today, Brian Walshe faced justice for the murder of his wife, Ana Walshe. And we've been covering this case for the last couple of weeks. The trial happened so much quicker than I expected it to happen, of course, because the defense were like, oh, we're just not going to mount a defense here. But we're going to get into that tonight, so stick with me. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello there, my friend. Welcome back. Thank you very much for being here for another true crime conversation with me, Gavin Fish. I sure am glad that you are here today. A lot has been going on today. I want to start off by saying we are very aware of the crime that took place in Brentwood, California yesterday, and all of the breaking news that happened overnight and throughout the day in the murder of Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer-Reimer. We're going to get into that today. After this video, we're going to do a second video. This is a rare twofer, okay? So we know that that's happening. We want to talk about it for sure, but we also want to give Ana Walshe her due. And so we're going to do this video about this case. Be sure in the live stream, by the way, or in the live chat, and actually, if you're in Rewatch Crew, in the regular old chat, or if you're on Spotify and you're listening to this as a podcast, in the comments section, tell me where you're listening from. I don't know. I just really love that. And I'm glad to know where people are tuning in from. The major news that happened today is that Brian Walshe was found guilty of the murder of Ana Walshe. I have two pieces of video that I want to share with you today. And then I'm just hoping, maybe against all hope, because I've noticed that you guys just aren't as conversational lately. I don't know. Is that just me? Am I just a little too sensitive? Am I a little too touchy? But it used to be that we had these amazing live chat conversations. And these days, I think you guys are resting on your laurels. I really do. You're like, no, I just want to listen to what Gavin has to say. But I selfishly want to hear what you have to say. So put GF in your comment. That will highlight it on my side so that I can, let's get Brian's face off here, so that I can see what you guys are saying in the live chat. I don't know. I love it. And I know it's selfish, but that's the way it is. Okay, the first video that I want to bring to you is I think it's about a 10-minute video. This is, no, it's less than that. It's about 7 minutes. Autumn, for your children, it is about 6-7 minutes. Okay? 6 minutes 53. And this is the unceremonious moment where Brian Walshe learns his fate. And let's have a lookaroo, shall we?
Entering, all rise. Will the deliberating jurors and the defendant please remain standing, everyone else in the courtroom may be seated.
Your Honor, may I inquire?
You may.
Mr. Foreperson, in the matter of the Commonwealth versus Brian Walshe, have the deliberating jurors...
I am so sorry. That Boston accent, man. That Boston accent. I'm sorry. For those of you who are watching from the Boston area, you got to stop, man. You just got to stop with that accent. Madam Foreperson, Mr. Foreperson, have you arrived at a verdict? You guys are lazy. I'm sorry, it just kills me. But okay, lambast me in the comments.
Reached a unanimous verdict.
We have.
Thank you, sir. If you could hand that to the court officer, please.
And I know you can get rid of that accent. Seth Meyers, Exhibit A. All right. Conan O'Brien, Exhibit B. Ah, we've got the Danish lady in the house.
Your Honor, may the verdict be recorded.
It may.
Mr. Foreperson, in the matter of the Commonwealth versus Brian Walshe, Norfolk Superior Court Criminal Indictment Number 2023-0091, as to count 1, wherein the defendant Brian Walshe is charged with murder in the first degree, what say the jury? Is the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Guilty of what, sir?
Murder in the first degree.
Murder in the first degree, so say you, Mr. Foreperson.
I do.
Guilty of murder in the first degree, so say all deliberating jurors.
I do.
Thank you. If you could hand that back to the court officer, please.
At this time, we'd move to poll the jurors.
The jury may be polled.
Thank you. Juror number 1, juror in seat number 1. As to the verdict of murder in the first...
Hey, real quick, Ms. B, 195 from Melbourne. I'm guessing that's Melbourne, Australia. We're also very aware of what's happened in Sydney. So sorry for what happened over the weekend there.
degree, is that your verdict?
Yes, it is.
Juror number 2, your verdict.
Yes.
Juror number 3, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 4, as to the charge of murder in the first degree, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Mr. Foreperson, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 8, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 9, is that your verdict? Yes. Juror in seat number 10, is that your verdict? Juror in seat number 13?
Yes.
Is that your verdict?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 14, is that your verdict?
Yes.
And last juror, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Your Honor, all jurors answer affirmatively that the guilty of first degree is their verdict.
The verdict may be recorded. Please
Thank
be
you.
seated.
Seated.
Not much pomp or circumstances there, huh? You're just, yeah.
So
you're
jurors,
guilty.
I
That's
want
my
to
verdict.
thank you for your service on this case.
He knew it
I
was
know
coming.
that it went a little bit more quickly than we were expecting, but your service has been substantial. We're in the third week of this trial, and I appreciate all you did to be obedient to those rules that I placed on you and for your conscientious service as jurors in this case. I will be back to meet with you privately in a moment. You should feel a weight lifting off of you right now, because I'm releasing of you of those requirements. You can talk to anyone about this case, or no one at all. You can do whatever research you wish to do about the case, or none at all. You can go back on social media if you want, news media, and I'm supposed to release you from that burden of being open-minded. But I hope you always go through your lives with open hearts and open minds, new experiences and new people. I'll be back in just a minute to meet with all of you privately. Thank you very much, jurors.
Nice
Jurors
little
exiting, all rise. Jurors,
attaboy,
follow me,
attagirl
please.
from the judge. Robin, I bet it will be. That's like the standard. It's the standard. Pam Tucker, part of Hillbilly Crime Crew. Glad you're here.
When are we going to be in a position to have the victim impact statements and conduct the sentencing in this case?
Your Honor, I believe that we could do it as early as Wednesday of this week, but I believe if
If it's available to the court, we can also do Thursday or Friday.
I know that Friday's definitely not a good day for the court because I have other things scheduled. I anticipated the trial was going to be running, so I scheduled other things, although we could do it Friday morning. Does the defense have any preferences to the timing of the sentencing?
Your Honor, given the Commonwealth's recommendations, we'd actually request Wednesday at any point, if that's possible.
All right. I think it will be. I'll just, the only reason that I wouldn't do it on Wednesday is I do want the victim impact statements, regardless of the implications of the jury's verdict. It may have bearing on my sentencing on the other counts to which he pled guilty.
You know, we'll talk about this a little bit, but it doesn't seem to me, not only was Brian Walshe not surprised by the verdict, but his counsel was not surprised by the verdict. And I think they gave the best defense they could give him. I think it was an effective defense. I don't think that an argument that he had ineffective counsel could really work on appeal. I think they did the best they could with what they had. And I don't know. I kind of feel like they probably should have mounted an actual defense, but that would have been a strategy that Brian Walshe would have approved or disapproved of, right?
That's right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right.
Matter is continued to December 17th at 9 a.m. for sentence and position.
And that's it.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
But I want to keep watching because it feels good to see him
Thanks,
be
everyone.
put in shackles and cuffs. Man, he puts him on gentle, though, doesn't he? That gives me an indication that Mr. Walshe is a very compliant inmate at the county jail there. They're not too worried about him. Not too worried about him at all. There he goes, and look at everybody watching him from the gallery. Off you go, sir. Off you go. Let's take a moment to read through some of your comments here. Just Ducky 5923 asks, Gavin, what do you think the length of time for the jury to come to a decision? I think probably what happened in that jury room is I don't know. I've told you my experience, but this one does feel rather cut and dry, and they may have just said to themselves, it was kind of like a 12 Angry Men kind of a thing. Hey, let's just spend a little time on this before we send a man to prison for the rest of his life. Let's spend a little time. There's a lot of evidence that we can look at again. There's video. There's all sorts of stuff that we can look at. Let's take time to do that just to be conscientious and make sure that we're not missing anything. So what did they have? They had 2 full days plus a couple hours. So they probably did deliberate that entire time and worked hard to get to a conscientious verdict. There were no hesitations when they polled the jury. No hesitations. Juror number 1, yes. Juror number 2, yes. Bang, 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 bang. Psych Nerd says, the jury got it right. Anyone else notice the stink eye by the judge? I think this judge, what is it, Frenieri? I can't remember. I think she has a rather stink eye kind of face, actually. And I mean that only respectfully. Like she's a serious person. Let's see. Angela Host 2858. He was completely emotionless when he heard the verdict. Just nods his head. Indeed. Yeah, he wasn't surprised by that verdict. He knew what happened. He knew what happened. He knew he was caught. I can't imagine that. Can't imagine he was all surprised at all. Marie Jubinville. By the way, I don't know if I should say that, but the 3 questions in our last segment of this video all come from Marie. So Looking forward to that. Marie says, Gavin, I've been away from the New England area for 47 years, and my friends in Alabama say I still have the accent. That's funny. When I was a kiddo, we moved from Summit County, not Wasatch County, Summit County, Utah, to Sacramento County, California, specifically to Orangevale. And Summit County has its own little kind of pidgin. And it sounds actually very South. It's a very cowboy version of Southern speaking. And I got made fun of mercilessly for my accent. As a 4th grader and a 5th grader, I worked hard to drop that accent. And I eventually did. And when we go back and look at family videos from like 81, 82, 83, right around in there while we're still in Utah, oh my goodness, we have got that Summit County drawl. It's hard to kick. It is hard to kick. All right, let's see. Next comment. What do we have here? Cooler by the Lake says, Gavin, I can't believe he expected any other outcome. I agree. It was the disassembling of the victim no one could get past. Again, yeah, totally agree. When the prosecution said, hey, jury, please use your common sense here. Please use your common sense here. Nobody finds their spouse dead in a bed and says to themselves, think I'll pick her up, take her down to the basement, leave her there, head on out to Home Depot, head on out to Lowe's, buy myself a hacksaw, a hatchet, some buckets, some cleaning supplies, a Tyvek suit, and chop her up, put her into bags, and distribute her throughout the city. Nobody does that. People call 911, right? I think it was the choppy. I really do. And I am, I don't want the memory of this poor woman. What's really sad is that she will be remembered as the woman that was dismembered and scattered. And that sucks for kids because they are going to grow up at some point and realize, I mean, maybe they do already, but there will be an emotional reckoning for these kiddos. And I'm very sorry for them. Just sucks. Robin says, I respectfully think you have a stink eye kind of face. Hold on. How was that? Was that? I'm kind of channeling the Rock there. Right? Don't want to do the Rock with just the stink eye, like you Judge Judy, who has the ultimate stink eye face. That is funny. Content Angel 2131. Yeah, the only person who can get away with claiming self-defense after dissecting a body is Robert Durst. Okay. Diamond Ring Girl. Oh my goodness, Diamond Ring Girl. She's got all the diamond rings, y'all. Gavin, I didn't believe she passed in bed due to the blood on living room carpet. If he disassembled her in a basement, why blood on carpet and slippers? I mean, at this point, we're getting into speculation, right? But I would imagine that there was blood. Yeah, well, maybe it didn't happen in the bed. Maybe it did happen in the living room, and then he took her down into the basement. Maybe he beat her. Maybe he hit her with something, a blunt object. That's the thing. As the medical examiner testified, there's no knowing what the cause and manner of death are because there is no autopsy to perform because there's no body. But I guess there are 1,000 reasons that blood could get in different places, right? Great comment. Blimey Hermione 07. Blimey Hermione, could you not get number 1? I mean, did you have to go through all of them to get to number 7? I'm just curious, or maybe that is a year or something. Gavin, in CC Live Trials, we were talking about M1 convictions are automatically appealed to the Massachusetts Supreme Court. Well, that's interesting, and they should be. I mean, that happens in many states. I don't know that I would say all of them. Do first-degree murder cases automatically get appealed en masse? Let's see. Yes, in Massachusetts, all convictions for first-degree murder are automatically appealed directly to the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court by bypassing the Intermediate Appeals Court for a special fulsome review. This process ensures the Supreme Judicial Court reviews the entire case for any legal errors that might warrant a new trial or a lesser charge, even if the defense doesn't explicitly raise them. Well, I did not know that about the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Thank you for bringing that up, Hermione. I think that is a terrific idea, though. It's a good idea. I mean, I'm starting to soften on DP versus life in prison without parole. I think that there are some things that are just so heinous, that are just so bad, that the only thing that can be done is the DP. I still believe that. Now, I know that Massachusetts is a little bit more of a liberal place than I am. I'm kind of a centrist, and I know Massachusetts is a little more liberal place, and this might be an artifact of their state politics, right? Just let's make sure that we get this right. And I don't think that's a bad idea at all. Thanks for telling us that, Hermione. Robin says I can't stink eye with my glass on. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. Oh, watermelon. How was that? Am I up there with the Judge Judys of the world? Probably not. All right. Juneskin says, Gavin, CNN reported the children are in foster care and the oldest is going to have an impact statement. Well, I'm glad for that. And on Wednesday, I'm not going to be able to watch it live. Just real quick, little housekeeping here. Wednesday, I've actually got a pretty major dental procedure happening. You see, as I was leaving my teens and continuing to eat and drink the way I did in my teens and started to balloon up. Did you know that Kimberly, my snuggly bear, my sweetie pie, my one and only, gained 50 pounds with her first pregnancy? Because I'm supportive of my wife and love her dearly, also gained 50 pounds with her first pregnancy. The difference between us, of course, is that she lost the 50 pounds of her pregnancy and I did not. But I have been drinking up until pretty darn recently sugary, fizzy drinks, and it has wreaked havoc on the back of my mouth. So I have an appointment with the endodontist on Wednesday, and we'll be getting hopefully the last portion of that the second to last portion of that taken care of. So we may not be able to do a live stream on Wednesday. Debbie W8599 says, don't forget the varnish on the bedroom floor was scrubbed off, and why the hole in the ceiling in there with the insulation cut out. Indeed. Like, you guys are astute, man. Oh, and Blimey Hermione, 07 is her grad year. Good for you. High school graduation, 07. I already feel extremely old. I graduated in 1993. So, guys, that is the update on the Ana Walshe case. We will try to be back Wednesday. It really boils down to what happens in Millmouth. But Tiff Knox, yeah, big dentist appointment, $3,000 later. I feel you. I've almost thought, you know what? Just take a vacation to Turkey and just get it taken care of. It'll be cheaper and just as good. But I've decided not to do that. That's funny. You guys are yeah, talking about pregnancies. Yeah, my wife was really good at nourishing the little soul that was developing within her and nourishing herself. And then she was so good at regaining her beautiful womanly figure. She's amazing. Okay, guys, so that's our update on Ana Walshe. Let's move on to a segment that I like to call headlines. Here we go.
True crime headlines.
Pow. All right. In this segment, we just go over a couple headlines that are in the old news. Of course, I did want to bring this up. The Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner. I have been having a hard time saying Reiner. I went to school from elementary through high school with a couple of kids with the last name of Reimer. Good kids. Loved them to death. And I've been having a hard time with this. But Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner, of course, we will be covering this in more detail in about a half an hour on the second video of the night. But I wanted to bring this up, okay? ABC News. Rob Reiner's son in police custody in wake of stabbing deaths. Nick Reiner, the 32-year-old son of Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner, is in custody with the LAPD, or the Sheriff's Department. Okay. Director Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer, were found killed in their Los Angeles home on Sunday, and the couple's son, Nick Reiner, has been arrested for murder, according to police. Nick Reiner, 32, was taken into custody on Sunday night, hours after the couple was found dead. That's an interesting way to say that. I mean, yeah, that's the right way to say it. The couple was found stabbed to death in their Brentwood home, according to law enforcement sources. Nick Reiner is being held without bail, according to authorities. I thought I saw a report that he had a $4 million bond. We'll get into that. Our hearts go out to the family and friends of the Reiners. LAPD Chief Jim McDonald said Monday. We're gonna look at that video in the next hour. Law enforcement sources told ABC News Nick Reiner was not at home when his parents were found stabbed to death. Investigators believe he left at some point after the stabbings. Sources said the LAPD was able to easily and quickly find him near the University of Southern California, where he was arrested for murder. The Reiner's daughter found her parents' bodies on Sunday, sources told ABC News. Rob Reiner, a famed director, producer, and actor, is known for massive Hollywood hits, including The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, the movie in which he met his wife, Michelle Singer, Stand By Me, This Is Spinal Tap, A Few Good Men, and more. It is with profound sorrow that we announce the tragic passing of Michelle and Rob Reiner. The Reiner family said, "We are heartbroken by this sudden loss, and we ask for privacy during this unbelievably difficult time." Yeah. Neighbor told ABC News that actors Billy Crystal and Larry David were seen at the house after police arrived. Billy looked like he was about to cry, the neighbor said. The Reiner family owns 2 houses across the street from each other. Rob and his wife lived in one, and a daughter with kids lived in another, according to the neighbor. They're a big presence on the block. They're always having parties. Rob Reiner, 78, and Singer, 68, married in 1989, share 3 children, Jake, Nick, and Romy. Rob Reiner is also survived by daughter Tracy Reiner with his first wife, Penny Marshall, who died in 2018. Yeah, he adopted Penny Marshall's daughter. Yeah. And then it talks a little bit about his career and a little bit more, but we're going to talk about this in our next video, as I've said multiple times, but it's just such a sad and senseless loss. Actually, every case that we cover is senseless. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And, I know that, or it is reported that Nick Reiner had lots of mental health issues stemming mostly from drug addiction, drug abuse. We'll get into it in the next video, but I'm terribly sorry for I'm terribly sorry for any loss. And we've talked about this a little bit on the channel. Why do some cases speak to us and some don't? And oftentimes it's pretty young women that we tend to gravitate toward. And I think that's simply because we value beauty. In the case of the Reiners, I think it's the same kind of thing. We value a beautiful life. And I mean, in this case, and I know it's not rocket science and it's not, the cure for cancer. What Rob Reiner did was entertainment, but we value entertainment. And some of our most, visceral, ethereal memories that we have in our own lives, I'm speaking for myself, but I imagine you feel the same, have to do with the entertainment that we consumed. And losing somebody who's given us so much is deeply sorrowful for those of us who didn't know him, and then for those who did, those who loved him and her. I should say them, right? Those who loved them, I can't imagine the deep, deep sorrow and borderline despair over something like this. And for that, I am very, very sorry for them. But that is the headline. Next headline I want to share with you comes to us in the Anna Kepner saga. If you remember, Anna Kepner was the high school senior from Titusville, Florida, who was murdered on a cruise. This article came out yesterday in People. Anna Kepner's aunt alleges late teen was afraid of stepbrother. Quote, she wasn't comfortable. The aunt of Anna Kepner, the Florida teen who was found dead on a Carnival cruise ship on November 7th, claims that her niece was worried about her stepbrother, Timothy, who is unofficially called a suspect in the investigation. I can't believe they're actually saying the name now. Speaking with the Daily Mail in a story published on Saturday, Anna's maternal aunt, Crystal Wright, claimed, now remember, there's some weirdness here. I'm just getting some weird juju out of the whole family situation. Now, blended families are pretty normal thing, right? But in this case, I think estranged might be a little overstating it, but the relationship that Anna had with her mother's side of the family was complicated, I would say. So I don't know how much they knew Anna, honestly, but I'm just guessing at this point. Speaking with the Daily Mail in a story published on Saturday, Anna's maternal aunt, Crystal Wright, claimed that the 18-year-old's family dynamic had been fractured long before the vacation and that Anna felt increasingly uncomfortable in her own home. The body of the Florida teen, who was a cheerleader and aspiring canine police officer, was discovered by housekeeping staff on November 7th, blah, blah, blah. Anna's death was ruled a homicide. She shared the room with her siblings. According to Wright, who is the sister of Anna's mother, Heather, the teen was reluctant to go on the trip, and she had fears about Timothy, though Wright isn't sure exactly what happened aboard the cruise ship that day. Quote, Anna wasn't really wanting to go on the trip, claimed Wright, who said her daughter would regularly FaceTime with the high school senior. So like first cousins, because the boy was going. I had found out that she was sharing a room with the boy, she continued, and I can hear you, not comfortable with it, but I guess putting up with it. She only has to sleep in the bed at night, and the rest of the time she could avoid him, Wright said, describing Anna as sweet-natured. Wright alleged that the issues between Anna and her stepbrother had been ongoing despite previous testimony from Hudson that Anna, Timothy, and Connor were close friends and that they shared a room on the cruise. She just wasn't comfortable with the boy, Wright continued. She was worried about him. She had worries. It's been like that almost the entire time they lived together. So that is the latest that we hear from the family of Anna Kepner. I'm hoping that charges are coming soon, and I hope that they are appropriate. In this case, we have done nothing but read the media, so we really don't know specifically any of the details. Well, most, I would say, of the details. We know some details from the autopsy and so forth, and from court records, but I'd say most of the details we don't know. And so reading an affidavit of probable cause or a criminal complaint would be really helpful in this case, and we will keep our eye on that. Those are your headlines.
True crime headlines.
Okay, last segment of the show before we move on at 7 p.m. to our next video about Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer. We got to get into questions, right?
It's 3 questions with Gavin Fish.
Okay, this segment's really easy, guys. I will answer 3 questions on every live stream. 3 questions, okay? Nothing's off the table. You can ask me anything. It can be borderline inappropriate. It can be fully inappropriate. It could be about the mysteries of the universe, and it can be about what underwear I wear. This is the spectrum within which we are working. Okay. All 3 questions come from the same person tonight. It's Marie. I hope you don't mind that I outed you, Marie. But here we go. Question number 1. What is your favorite Christmas memory from your childhood? How perfectly timed. And by the way, I'm not getting lots of questions, so if you guys have questions, send them in. I might have to make some up for our next video. Send in those questions. 3 questions at gavinfish.com. 3 questions at gavinfish.com. It's spelled out THREE. Questions at gavinfish.com. What's my favorite Christmas memory? What's my favorite from childhood? I would say this. When I was a little child, most of my family, my extended family, all of my cousins, my aunts and uncles, all lived nearby, and like within an hour radius where we were. And in some cases, it was like moments away. It was just like a minute and a half away. And I mean, I had some cousins that lived far away, but they would come back for Christmas. And I come from a big family. My dad is one of 7 children, and many of his siblings had lots of kiddos. And then my mom is the middle child of 3, and we all had pretty big families there. So it was fun. And then the other part of that is that my dad and his brother, my dad married my mom. His oldest brother married my mom's first cousin and favorite person in the world. Like, my mom loved her. And so I had one set of cousins that were first cousins on my dad's side, and they were second cousins on my mom's side, right? So we would see them at both. Anyway, I would just say my favorite, it's not a specific memory, but every Christmas season on my mom's side of the family, we would have a big family gathering, usually at like a rented venue, like a hall of some sort, that was my mom's family and all of their descendants. So they were all first and second and sometimes third cousins. They were uncles and aunts. They were great uncles and aunts. It was chock full, and it would always be probably about the week leading up to Christmas, and it was a huge party, and I loved playing with everybody, and it was terrific. I loved those parties. Christmas Eve was always my dad's side of the family, and so we would travel to actually both of my parents' hometown Heber City, Utah, where my grandparents lived, and which was like 35 minutes away from where we lived, something like that. And we would have Christmas party, a big Christmas party at grandma and grandpa's house there. And we could all open one gift, and that gift was delivered by Santa Claus every single time. We would start to hear sleigh bells outside, and Santa would appear, and he would dance around with my grandpa, and my grandma would be over in the corner playing the piano, and we would all be singing because my dad's family is deeply musically talented. It was so much fun. And then on the drive home, we would be in, our PJs that we usually got from Santa. We'd fall asleep in the car, get carried in to the house where we would fall asleep and wait for Saint Nick to visit us overnight. The other tradition that we did is the night before Christmas Eve, the night of December 23rd, we had a sleep out in the living room by the fire on sleeping bags and stuff. Like all 5 of us kids would I don't know, have a sleep out by the fire, have a little party. We'd have popcorn. We'd watch, something. Sometimes Dad would. I don't know. It was fun. Lots and lots and lots of fun. Christmas was always just terrible fun. Question number 2. What was your favorite food from childhood? I don't know that I had a favorite food. I don't know. Probably just like a McDonald's hamburger and fries. I just really loved it. Just really loved it. Of course, I don't eat that stuff right now because I am on my way down from being a giant balloon animal of a man. And so, yeah, probably McD's. My dad would say, like, I'm having a Big Mac attack. And that meant pile in the car. Dad's taking us to McD's. Also, back in the day, remember when Little Caesars Pizza it was like 2 pizzas for $5 kind of thing? And maybe it was less. Maybe it was like $3.99. Or $2.99. I was a little kid. But I loved it when my mom would go visit her parents. Like, we would go back and visit Grandpa and Grandma twice a year, no matter what, like without fail. But sometimes Mom would go and visit her folks without us. And that meant we were eating pizza a lot and McDonald's a lot. So probably that. Typical American. Such an American. All right, last question is, what was your favorite subject in school and why? There were 2 subjects in school that made a positive and long-lasting beneficial effect in my life. I took 3 years of photography in high school. My teacher was a man named Alan Thorner. Mr. Thorner was the best. He only had photo 1 and photo 2, but the 3rd year he let me do an independent study, and I focused on hand tinting that year because I was a black and white photographer. These are the days of film, right? When you would develop the film, we had the dark room where we would then go and make our prints. And Mr. Thorner, that 3rd year, got a big Bezier enlarger that we could tilt and project onto the wall so we could make big, big prints. And I did that quite a bit. I loved photography. Photography is still maybe my favorite hobby. My collection of cameras is vast. I still shoot film from time to time. And yeah, I love it. So that's number 1. Now, the 4th year, Mr. Thorner would have given me a 4th year of photography, but I was recruited into the yearbook program. And at my high school, the yearbook program was top of the nation. It was an actual journalism program. And, the recruits were, for the writing side and the editorial side, were all accomplished kids. Of course, this is high school, right? But accomplished kids. And on the photography side, we were a little more goofbally, but we were accomplished photographers. And we had a really good staff. I've told you about my late friend Eric. He was the editor that year. We met at the end of our junior year. He's the one who recruited me in there. And it made not only did it make a huge difference in learning the art of journalistic photography, which I had not done. I had been doing portraiture, I'd been doing landscape, stuff like that, cityscape. So when I'm doing my photography as a reporter these days, like the basic knowledge that I have on it all started my senior year of high school. Anyway, so not only was that important, but the lifelong friends that I made in that class, Eric being one of them, all the way to the end of his life, Ingrid being another one, all the way to the end of her life. And Matt and Julie and Laura and then other friends that I had known since childhood, but we really got to really be in the cauldron together. Julene and Christy and Nate and Brian and we were, and then, I could just, there was this girl in that class that was a year younger than us. Her name was Clarissa, but for some reason Eric just called her Bob. So she's been Bob for me ever since. When we interact on social media or we see each other at reunions or whatever, she's always Bob. She's the best. So anyway, yeah. So photography and yearbook. By the way, on the digital side of things, I am decidedly lacking in a medium format camera. And I know which one I want. I think it's the GPX 100 from Fujifilm. It's a medium format digital camera. And I want it so badly I can taste it. And I'm hoping that sometime in the next couple of years, that'll be something that I will get, because I love medium format. Now, when it comes to film, I love large format. Well, I would say when it comes to cityscapes and landscapes, I love shooting large format, but I mostly shoot 35 millimeter for portraits and stuff. So that's it. That is the end. If you guys have other questions about me personally, send them in to 3questions@gavinfish.com. It's spelled out THREE questions@gavinfish.com. And before we call it a night, let's just see if there are any other comments that I have not gone to. Let's see. Emmy Nikolov says, don't go to Turkey for that. I won't. I'm doing it here. Though I have had dental work abroad. I was in Taiwan and I had a dental issue. That was the best experience of my life. It was the most high-tech experience of my life, was getting a root canal and a crown in Taipei. My friend and boss at the time, Larry, knew that I was going to be there on business. He knew that I needed to take care of something, and he called ahead to his dentist and arranged the whole thing. It was awesome. So if I were to ever do it abroad again, Taiwan was amazing. The Reiners lived one block east of O.J. Simpson's former home on Rockingham. Yeah, they're there in Brentwood. We're going to do a little map time tonight. Thanks for that comment. Emmy Nikolov, you and Joel from STS again at the same time, same topic. Dang it, I know. I moved early so that this wouldn't happen all that much, but it's going to happen tonight, and I'm sorry for that. Sharky Sharona says, I've disconnected from everything today, but came here because I knew this story would be shared with compassion and empathy. Thank you, Gavin and Mods. My pleasure. Marie says, I remember him, Mr. Reiner, in All in the Family way back in the 70s. I do too. Any updates on David and Celeste Rivas? Not that I searched today, like maybe 30 minutes before I started this video, and I haven't seen an update on that case yet, but I will continue to look and we will keep reporting on it. Just Ducky, can we send more than one question per email? Sure. Yeah, send a list. Go for it. Go for it. Did you hear about new information on the JonBenet Ramsey case? I have not. I have not heard that. I will do some research. Thanks for that heads up. Autumn says, I have a camera. I will send you pictures. I'll never use it. Well, what kind of camera? What kind of camera are we talking about, Autumn? I have a pretty deep SLR collection. Now, listen, I would never turn down an SLR. I love them. I still have my first one, and I let my kids use it. I love them. But yeah, I would gladly take a gift of an SLR, film SLR. Yeah, I'm in. Marie says, thanks for answering the questions. Well, my pleasure. And that is a good way to end for this video. Remember, we will be back in 9 short minutes. Before we go, just a quick little remindery poo that you can reach out to me through my website, gavinfish.com. There's always a link in the description below. And if you click on this little icon right here, that's a way that you can contact me. If you're thinking of supporting me financially, there's a way to do that here. And I deeply, deeply appreciate it, especially you folks on Patreon and the memberships here on YouTube. Thank you so much for caring for me enough to support me that way. And then this little fishy will take you over to the fish tank where we hang out on Facebook, talk about all sorts of things, including what I looked like when I was 16. Just get that picture off. Just get that picture off. But join us over on Facebook. Just search the fish tank or click on the little icon on my website. With that, I will bid you adieu until 8 short minutes from now. Until then, 8 minutes from now, take care of yourselves. See you then. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.